Welcome to the Pointy End. I'm Keith Sutherland. Today my guest is well-known Bendigo personality, Mr. Bushy Martin. Welcome back to Bendigo.
Good
Bushy.
morning, Keith. How are you? Thank you.
Now, I guess most people would probably know Bushy Martin as a retailer and a man that was on front of the screen and radio all the time, but there's obviously another side to Bushy Martin, and I just want to touch on a couple of those. Firstly, there's the Floyd Experience coming to town on Friday night. Dennis and I just mentioned this on a head-to-head this morning, that you were the lead singer from March 2013 to May 2014. What an experience doing all Pink Floyd stuff.
Yeah, so they're actually a really good band, and a friend of mine joined the band in Adelaide and said, look, they're looking for a singer. So I went to the audition, and 6 weeks later I think I got the gig. So they really are authentic. Like if you love Pink Floyd and you love that style and that sound that they produce, and these guys are absolutely note perfect. So they're here on a Friday night at the Capitol Theatre, so it's well worth going to see, definitely.
Yeah, well, I love all the Pink Floyd stuff, and I've been lucky enough to see Roger Waters in his own band and Dave Gilmour with Pink Floyd, and Dennis is going along to listen to him, and he'll probably have a drink with you on Friday night. But the major thing that I wanted to really discuss was you and Rick Price got to know each other, and I guess being a music freak, and as I said before, I don't think a lot of people realise that there's a lot more to Bushy Martin than we see as a retailing man. But basically, you're a singer-songwriter in your own right. You're a very accomplished musician.
Thank you.
And I've heard you in action, so I do know that for a fact. But I know that Rick Price is coming to town on the 16th of July, and you're been helping to organise part of that and doing a bit of promotion for him. But how did you get to know Rick Price? Because he's a bit of a star.
Yeah, well,
not that I'm saying you're not a star, but Rick is really out there.
Well, I used to live in Sydney in the 90s, and Rick used to play at the basement there, a great jazz club, and I was a mad fan. I used to talk to him at the gigs, and I didn't really know him. I was kind of an associate, I suppose. But it's funny how paths crossed. So I moved to Bundaberg for a while, and he played up there, and I had a chat to him there at a barbecue one night, and then I met him in Melbourne. And then he had a competition in 2013 in Adelaide, nationally, to win his support show, which I actually won for South Australia. Right. So we had a show there which was sold out, which was fantastic. And then the year after, I supported him again in Adelaide at the Capri Theatre. So I suppose through a few gigs, and it's been really good.
So with his, he's coming to town, as I said, on the 16th at the Capitol, being backed up by Greg Champion and from the Good Beans, and Greg's a great guy, and I had him to our Bloke's Biggest Lunch the first time around, and Greg gave me some grand final tickets a few years ago, so that was great as well.
Yeah, he's a champion.
Mike Rudd, of course, is well known from his Spectrum aerial days, way back then, and his song, I should say, I'll Be Gone. So he's got some backup, and I believe you're having a bit of a cameo appearance on that night at the Capitol, which we're all coming along to clap and cheer and yell and make sure that everyone hears you, of course. Yeah,
no, I get an opportunity to get up and sing a song with Rick. So he wasn't aware I was back in Bendigo, but we had a chat, and he said, yeah, get up and do a song. It's going to be a great night of music. I think most people would know Rick from the 90s with the long curly hair and the big pop hits. But his music's a lot more organic now, so it's a lot more kind of gospel-y, bluesy, country-ish kind of. It's a real mix, actually. So if you love acoustic music and obviously great voices, you will love this show. It really is. He's world class. He really is.
And I believe he's living in America now, and Nashville, you just mentioned before, and coming back to Australia, doing quite a few shows. And I guess that probably people don't realise just how big he was, because there's a couple of things you've got here. Achieved numerous music awards, including Album of the Year, Song of the Year, some of his much-loved hits, latest being Tennessee Sky, and then some of the hits that you sort of talk about, Not a Day Goes By, Heaven Knows, River of Love, Walk Away Renee, and you mentioned that he's written a lot of music for a lot of other artists.
Yeah, correct. So he really is a songwriter for a lot of other artists, and he performs with Tommy Emmanuel, who you would know, in Europe and the States. He's played with Richard Marx. I mean, he really is, respected globally. So, and he's coming to Bendigo, which is great.
Our producer here, Dennis English, of course, had one night with Phil Emmanuel, was recording an album here in Bendigo, and Dennis was right behind the scene with that one. and I think I'm correct in saying it was Phil Emanuel, not Tommy, but
Yep.
and it was great. It was a great night, and I was lucky enough to get an invite to come and listen to them recording and going through the whole process. It was a very interesting night. So,
Yeah, well,
as I said, our producer Dennis is right into the music scene as well.
yeah, well, Phil's world class too, as you would know. So yeah, no, if you're free on the 16th of July, then please come along to the Capitol. It's a great show, and it's pretty good value too.
Well, obviously with you being on stage, of course, adds to it as well. So where to for Bushy Martin from here? Because you've done a bit of music, you've done a lot of retailing, You've been around to different places, and you spent a bit of time over in Adelaide for the last couple of years, but you're making a home back in Bendigo. This is your home, your ancestral home, I guess you have to say.
Well, it's funny. I was actually baptised in the Bendigo area, and I never knew that until a few years ago. So it does feel like home, definitely. But Keith, I'm actually off overseas early August to Europe, and I'm actually going to be busking over there in London and Paris. And
you're not going to the Edinburgh Festival, are you, to do a bit of busking?
We never know. I didn't think about that.
Coming up, but
you might see me there.
Well, I might see you. Well, actually, I won't be there this year, but I will be in Europe in about 8 weeks' time. But I won't be there.
Yeah, so in Europe for the rest of the year, then I'll be back in probably January and looking for the next step. Don't know what that is yet, but
well, you mightn't come back if you get a record label over there, seeing Bushy Martin all the way from Bendigo, Australia, the world, gets a gig over there, and someone likes what you're doing because, as you said, you've done some pretty damn impressive things with, as I say, lead singer for Experience Floyd, which is great. And I noticed that part of that there were 6 sold-out shows at the Adelaide Fringe Festival in 2014.
Yeah.
So I can just see you in that Fringe Festival, getting around, enjoying yourself, and being part of that fabulous crowd, of course, of eclectic people, as they say.
Yeah, no, it was a great experience, and I mean the Floyd Experience has also got bigger now, so they're a full production band. They've got backup singers and got a sax player and 2 keyboard players, so it's a full-on production these days. So yeah, well worth going and seeing.
Well, I was reading it was 11-piece band, and I think from your days it was 7-piece or something like that, and now you've got the backup saxophone, and you have to have the saxophone in Pink Floyd, of course.
Correct. And he's a great player too, by the way. Greg Huxtable was his name, so yeah.
Is it? So you'll be catching up with them all on Friday night, and perhaps getting Dennis backstage. Would it be part of the action?
Sure we can do that, yeah, definitely.
Well, Bushy, thank you for appearing on the Pointy End. I wish you well with the Rick Price concert coming up on the 16th. I certainly implore everyone to go along and listen, not just to Rick Price and Greg Champion and, of course, Mike Rudd as well. So we've got all the stars and, of course, you having a cameo appearance. So, Bushy, good luck for the future.
Thanks,
I hope you
Keith.
go well busking over in Europe.
Thank you.
And look forward to catching up with you on the 16th at the Capitol.
Thank you, it's been fun. Cheers.
Good on you.
Thanks.